What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Aggravated Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Cryistal Chaos. Have you missed me? It's been almost 4 months. Let's get into it. So this is going to be a winged episode. There is no script, so if you're watching the video version, I'm actually not looking at my computer for once, but I'm so ADHD that I'm having a hard time actually staring at the camera lens. I think that's a learned skill. So I had to take a break from this podcast because shit was getting fucking wild, insanely wild. First of all, if you've been around for a hot minute, you know that I did not start this to be like a drama channel. This isn't like a spicy drama channel or anything like that. Is it controversial? Yes. Do I call people out? Yes. Do people think I'm a bully for that? Absolutely. But that's not what this is for. This isn't for people to write in and be like, "Ooh, here's the tea, here's the drama." I'm not going to call people out on your behalf because you're too scared to do it. That's not. Will I help you get justice because I have justice sensitivity? Sure. Yes, absolutely. Are there things that I see that I think are just completely fucked up and wrong and I want to bring awareness to them? Like the whole sovereign stylist thing? Yes, absolutely. But this is not like somebody fucked so-and-so over. Did you hear about whatever? And there's the tea. It's things that I find genuinely important in our industry that need to be talked about. And I think that message was lost somewhere along the way. Around the time that I took a break from this was when Maggie called out B Scene. Shit got so insane. I don't even know where to start with that. I sat on that news for months because no one would confirm it. And then finally she did. And then she went out, and used her own platform to say what the fuck she had to say, which I applaud her for. Now, the issue comes when there are opposing sides to what she allegedly did with her own love life and, her new relationship or whatever, which I don't give a fuck about, to be quite honest. Unpopular opinion, none of that fucking matters when there are hundreds of messages from other hairdressers saying that they were assaulted or abused or gaslit or manipulated by this same fucking man. There's a pattern here. And I think that got lost in translation because of all of the drama and the back and forth and the whatever. And that's not what this episode is about. But I do want to let you know that is why I ended up taking the break that I took, because there were a lot of catfish accounts coming my way being like, "You're a bully and you support blah, blah, blah." And it's like, okay, well, fine, whatever. But also there was somebody who had messaged me initially when the news came out, and they were like, he deserves to be canceled and he should lose all his whatever and blah, blah, blah. And then turned around the next day and see this, and it gets me so fucking fired up. This same person was like, she deserved to be hit because of her nasty, toxic mouth. And that is where I drew the fucking line. And I was like, you can fuck all the way off. So how's that for nasty and toxic? No woman deserves to have anyone lay their hands on her ever for any fucking reason. I don't give a fuck what comes out of her mouth. And I'm sure that I have probably said some things that are just as bad, if not worse. So fucketh off. And that moment right there, and then the back and forth of her relationship. I don't fucking care about her relationship. I care about the man in this industry who is taking advantage of other stylists, who is, threatening to ruin their careers and all of these different things. That is what I care about. And people just could not separate that logic for whatever reason. And I just was done. I was like, okay, you know what? And then I think that also was the moment where I realized this whole page and podcast, and maybe it was something that was needed or is needed, but I just need to dial it back a little bit. And then I went off the handle. There was somebody who is a whole thing. I got false information basically, and we called out JPP as one does. I had to apologize because I was wrong, because it was false information. And that is like one thing I cannot fucking stand is misinformation and false information. And she very quickly proved me wrong. I'm not even going to get into that whole situation, but I had to apologize to her. I did it in the stories, and then I did it in a post, and then I just like kind of cleaned my hands of the podcast for a little while. But what I also don't agree with is having people send me information and tell me stuff and say, you should post this and you should post that. And it's my fault for listening to them, because I do get wrapped up in the whole thing. I'm like this fucking industry savior or some dumb shit, which I very quickly realized, like, I'm not saving anybody. I'm just fucking making people mad at me, which kind of comes with the territory, but not just mental health stuff. Like, there's financial stuff that was going on. And as you guys know, and as I've said before, this podcast takes up 90% of my time between scripting and talking to people and interviews and, you know, sitting down and recording. Like, if you could see this fucking room right now, like all of the things that I have to set up just to sit here and do this. And then I have to sit and edit a video. And, you know, I like my stuff to be high quality. So my computer, being a 2016 MacBook Pro, wants to take off into the stratosphere every time I try to edit in Final Cut Pro. And so it's like this whole thing. So I took time away for those reasons. While there will be some drama or tea or whatever you want to call it here and there, if it's somebody who deserves to be called out for like stealing your work, or like, let's say you did a collab with them and they put their name on it and not yours, fuck them. Let's talk about it. Because all of these situations, it's not just about calling out one individual and saying this person fucking sucks. While that does happen, it's more about like, open your fucking eyes. Look at the people around you. Look at the situations around you. Pay attention to what is going on in your industry. In the last 4 months, I have sat and kind of like, reflected is not the right word, but like I was an observer for 4 months instead of a reporter, if that makes sense. And the industry has changed so drastically. Like, it's insane. It is so insane to think about, like, when I started in 2015. I didn't even start doing hair in 2015. I started doing hair in 2007. But like, I came into the suite world and I came into the online world around 2015. And even just since then, how just drastically it's changed with brand deals and, you know, the way that stylists act online and all of these like different things. And so being an observer kind of like humbled me in a way that I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like A, B, and C, D person. But I do want to continue to like kind of pave my own way. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you, but that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I haven't been around. That's the reason I disappeared in the first place. Why I haven't been around is because I have been working on my own color education, which has taken up quite a bit of my time. I also had to make like an unplanned trip to Indianapolis. Bradley had a death in the family, and so I went to, you know, be there for my man and do all those things. But the color education has been insane. I think it has eaten up a lot of my time, and honestly, it's replaced the time that I was spending on the podcast. So I think that's like a good thing, because that's like where my financial path is going, is online education. I do want to monetize this podcast at some point. I have started getting back into brand deals and like working with brands, and that's very exciting. I've been working on a very big campaign with a brand that it's top secret for now, but I'm very excited for it to launch next month. The color education is something that I like went back and forth for a long time, and being I don't like have a whole bunch of hairdresser friends at home to talk to, I kind of like tried to post on my stories and like post polls without like really giving anything away. But then I'd sit and talk to Bradley about it, and he does not know a balayage from a tip out. He does not know gray coverage, pastels, vibrance. Like he doesn't get it. But he is very helpful in like kind of like letting me talk it out and like bounce ideas. He's really good with marketing stuff actually too. So when I come to him from like a consumer standpoint, I'm like, if you were a consumer and this is something that you wanted, you know, how would you feel about this? Like, would you pay this much for it? Like, what would you want to see on the website? Just different things like that. So he's been very helpful with that type of stuff, which I'm so grateful for. Really just been very supportive, because most of the time that I was in Indianapolis at the beginning of June, I was doing swatches. Like I was swatching my little heart out, like making videos and recording stuff for the color education, which I really wanted to put out in July, and I'm hoping I still can. Initially, I said it would come out in October, and people are like, I'm saving my dollars, and I'm like, okay, cool. But I think I want to try to put it out in July just because of the way that I set it up. So let me tell you a little bit about it. And I would love feedback on this too, considering it's not out yet. I don't want to do a subscription. So there's a lot of okay, let's rewind. If you look at the color education that is available online, a lot of it is blonding, foil placements, lived in color, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then all the fashion color stuff I feel like is in person. And it's kind of like this weird divide because like one doesn't want to do what the other's doing. I don't know. It's just the way that I visually see it. But for me, I do better with online stuff. I do better with pre-recorded stuff. I can make sure that my wording is right. I can make sure my verbiage is right. And the other thing about online education is that you can go back and watch it as many times as you want to until you get it down. And it's not just sitting in a chair for 4 hours. I mean, some of these classes are hands-on, but like you can rewatch it, and you can also do it hands-on with me with your doll head and your, mannequin stand and whatever else. That's just personally why I prefer online education. And there's less overhead. There's no flights, there's no hotels. You don't have to worry about your flight getting canceled or getting pushed back, and then you might miss the class, or then you're frazzled. Like, as somebody who has high anxiety, if that ever fucking happened to me, I would be useless at that class when I showed up. So that's, and that's not to say I won't ever do an in-person class, but I think that this is just a better option. And a lot of these classes, to make it worth it for someone to go as an educator and do an in-person class, that class has to be $1,000 or more. Like, that's just the economy that we are in. Color is expensive, traveling is expensive, so on and so forth. So on top of $1,000 in-person ticket, you have to pay for a hotel, you have to pay for a car, depending on how far you have to travel to get to the class. And, as an in-person educator, you can't go to every state and every city in every state and make it that accessible for everyone, whereas online education does do just that. So that's a little bit of like why I decided to do it that way. And like I had said previously, it feels very divided. Like, a lot of the fashion color girlies are out there living life, and a lot of the like lived in and blonde girlies, they're doing both, but they have like subscriptions online. First of all, subscriptions are high pressure. That's high pressure to put something out every month or every week. And it's not a, like, you as the consumer have to continue to dish out this $47, $87, $97, whatever a month that it is. And then on the other side, for me, like, it's a lot of pressure to put that content out. Just like the podcast, kind of. Like, I feel like you guys are depending on me. Like, I'm your entertainment. I'm your source of news or like education in different ways. And so even though I don't get paid for doing the podcast, it did have this sense of like pressure to like put a new episode out every week. And every episode is a production, so to speak. So I just feel like doing some sort of like subscription education was just had a lot of pressure on it. So what I decided to do was to do 2 different tiers. There's going to be an all access and there's going to be a limited access. The all access is one flat fee, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's $1,000. Almost at $100. So it's $100,000. No, it's $1,000, and that gets you in forever. Like, that's it. You're done. As of right now, I am going to say that this is tentative. Because financially, like, this is a lot of work. Color is a lot of work. I spent $500 on color at the beginning of June just to make swatches. And not that I won't use that color like behind the chair or whatever, but swatches are also very expensive. Mannequin heads are also very expensive. So even though there's not as much overhead with like traveling in person, there's still a lot of fucking overhead for this type of stuff. And so I need to make it financially feasible for myself, but also I wanted it to be financially feasible for everyone who wants to take it. You know what I mean? The one thing that really concerned me about this was that if you look at it, it's like, there's no repeat customers. Like, once you're in, you're in. When it comes to the all access, like, once you're in, that's it. So I constantly have to be like opening myself up to new audiences, which I feel like TikTok is really great for that. However, if TikTok does end up getting banned, I'm right back on the same algorithm of Instagram. So That's where all the consumers come in. And I need you guys to tell all your friends. So I've really been like upping my game in Facebook groups, as aggravating as some of that shit can be. But I really have been upping my game in there and like going back to the roots of like when I first started and like trying to help people and answer their questions or whatever, so that when I do come in there and I'm like, hey, I do education, here's the whatever, it doesn't seem so like, who the fuck is this bitch? Do you know what I mean? So that all access is going to be $1,000. There will be payment plans. And once you pay that $1,000, you're in. And this is, again, tentative in case I decide to like do a little curve and, you know, change my mind. And it's going to have all different types of stuff. There will be, and it's for literally every level. So if you're seasoned, sure, maybe you want to learn a couple of the techniques that I throw in there. If you are new and you're a beginner, maybe you want to learn some color theory. Maybe you want to learn about pre-toning for fashion color. Maybe you want to learn about, you know, just different, how to formulate pastels or whatever. It's just going to have everything, just not at once. And that's the one thing I think I also was really concerned about, was that when you first sign up for it, it's not going to have every video available that's ever going to be in the library. It's only going to be like maybe 3 or 4 videos. But that's the great thing about all access, is that you have access to everything that's available right then and everything that I will ever post in there in the future. The other thing I'm really fucking excited about, and that I agonized over this for like weeks, is there's a community forum. And it's actually so cool because you have the community itself where everybody can like chitty chat with each other. It's right on the page, like where you would go watch the videos, but there's also a fucking app for it. So you would just download the app and then you can go into the forum without having to log in every time and ask your questions and post your photos or, you know, do whatever. And then there's also subcategories. So there's like a formulation category, there's a pastels category, there's a welcome and introduce yourself. Like it's a whole thing. And I'm really excited about that because none of my education has ever had a community before. I'm very, very excited about that. There's going to be exclusive collection drops. I know that there is a collection of a specific product that I want to make, like the techniques and the placements are based off a specific product, and that is going to end up being in there, and that won't be sold outside of that group. So like it'll have exclusive things. It'll have the community. You get access to everything that goes in there in the future, and that will already be in there. And it's just like a flat fee, and you don't have to worry about paying like literally ever again for that color education. That doesn't mean that I won't do drops that are extra money, because again, like financially this has to like, you know, whatever. But the limited access is basically for people who just want to buy the techniques. Maybe you don't want to learn about content and marketing. Maybe you don't need color theory. Maybe you're a seasoned stylist and you just want to learn the placement. You just want the collection of placement, and you want to see how I do the foil, how I do the sectioning, you know, all of that. Then you can buy just the collection. You can buy just whatever like technique collection is dropping. You can buy just that. And I'm not sure what that's going to be priced at yet. I'm pretty sure they're all going to have variable prices. The first one I think will either be $397 or $427, but you get lifetime access to it. So once you pay for that collection, it's yours. Unfortunately, there's not an option to, like, let's say you buy 2 collections and you've already paid like $800. And then you decide that you want to be in the limited access. Unfortunately, there's not an option to say, okay, just pay the difference and then you'll have access. There's no option for that. Somebody I was talking to, we were talking about like different ways that you could do this to make it easy and affordable and whatever for everybody. And I have to work with the platform that I have, which is really frustrating sometimes because the platform that I use only allows certain things as far as checkout goes. So as much as I might like to do that, there's no option for it. There's no cart I can buy. There's nothing I can, whatever, outside of having someone build one for me, which is thousands of dollars. So just know that, you know, if you want to buy into the more expensive one, I would do it off the bat, because if you buy 2 technique drops at $400 a piece, that's $800. And then you turn around and pay another $1,000, which If you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm just saying, think about that before you choose which one you want to sign up for. I also like the limited access too, just for the sheer fact that like you get to pick and choose which technique you want. So like, let's say you want this like rainbow collection or whatever, you can pick that. But maybe you don't want the lived in fashion color or the dim-eye permanent or, whatever I might be dropping next. You can wait till the next drop and you can kind of like build your own collection. It just is more expensive. So that's where I'm at with the color education. I know I don't sound like it, but I'm really excited about it. I'm fucking really stressed about it is what I am. I'm really hoping that it's something that I can continue to do to like sustain my income. Like that's my new financial whatever. I'm also have made a wait list for clients in Indianapolis. So if you know anybody there, this is a whole, let's just segue into the moving section because this has been like my biggest stressor as of late. So you guys know why I took a break. You know about the color education now. I'm very, very excited about it. Please tell all your friends. Oh, by the way, for the color education, there is a wait list and the link will be in the description of this video or in the show notes if you're listening to audio only. Go get on the wait list because they are going to get first dibs and there might be a little discount. Before we move into the moving section of all of that, I do want to tell you also, since we're on the topic of color, I did a collab with Matt Razook. I hope I said his last name right. He is going to be on the podcast very soon, but he has created his own color line and it's called Chroma Daddy. And we did a collab together where he made my signature color and it's brighter than Pravana and it's fucking amazing. And I'm so excited. So by the time this episode comes out, that should have already dropped. And it is a very limited time color. So I'm going to link his website also at the bottom in case you want to grab the collection or if you want to grab any of his other colors. If you ever used special effects, this is that, but better, especially the pink. So go grab those for sure. It's color that is made by a stylist. He is so knowledgeable when it comes to like ingredients and stuff. He is still kind of working out kinks, I feel like, with certain colors. But what I love so much about the fact that this is made by a stylist is that if he reformulates something, he's going to tell you that he reformulated it and he's going to tell you why and he's going to tell you what's different. And that is so refreshing versus going to buy Pulp Riot or Pravana and then using it and being like, this is not the fucking same. Like, this is not my tried and true violet. This is not my tried and true, whatever color that you use that has been reformulated. So he also has pigment juices, which I'm going to put a photo on the screen right here if you're watching. But this is Danger Jones Poolside, which is their pastel blue. And the pigment juices only come in primary colors. And this is their pastel blue with 2 drops of the Chroma Daddy pigment juices. And it's literally the perfect like mint. It's so fucking pretty. So I highly suggest that you guys jump on that. I'm going to have him on the podcast soon to answer some questions and like kind of talk about some things. And I don't know. I'm very excited about it. It's very cool to like work with him on this. Like, he's been such a fucking delight and he's so smart. And yeah, go grab some. Okay. So let's talk about my move. This has been so fucking stressful. So right now, if you're listening to this, it is June 22nd. Yes, it's June 22nd as I'm recording this. I found out 2 weeks ago. So I think I told you guys that my parents were also thinking about moving, or they were looking into moving, and basically they're selling my childhood home. I moved to that house when I was 6 years old, which, the neighbors that we have are like family to us, and we've lived there for like 32 years or some crazy shit like that. And my mom and dad are just up and like, okay, well, we're moving by. And I'm like, what the fuck? And there was never any definitive, like, we're moving at this time. So I just got told last week that they want to be out of that house by the end of August. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, I am not even going to be in Virginia for the almost entire month of July. And I do have stuff in their attic that They wanted me to go through and like, do you want to keep this? Do you want to get rid of it? Like, I have to find somewhere to store that stuff now because my lease here is not up until October. And the plan always was that I would move to Indianapolis in October. And that actually was the plan last fall. But he ended up getting a new job in July, and we wanted to wait until we were both like a little bit more financially stable, which is another reason for, me pushing the color education so hard. Not only that, but like, I want to get back into doing hair. I've had my 6 years of burnout and like, I miss doing hair. And I feel like a lot more of the things that I talk about, like surrounding content and brand deals and all this other stuff, would be so much more relatable if I could, show you guys or show any audience really that like I am a hairdresser and I do these things and whatever. But yeah, so that was the plan last year. We decided to just wait one more lease term, and this year is supposed to be the year that I finally moved to Indianapolis, and we haven't found a place to live yet. So I've been looking at houses. Of course, the housing market is fucking wild right now. I found one house that was brand new. Like, it was built like literally yesterday. And a lot of the houses in Indianapolis, if you didn't know, were built in like 1912, 1924, like early 1900s. And this was a brand new house that was built in either 2023 or 2024. And of course, it's gone. It's been sold. But I loved it. And it was only $160,000, which on a housing market it's insane. And, he used to be in the military, so he has a VA loan, which is great. We have no idea where we're going to live. When I do move there, we don't know if we are going to live in an apartment, if we are going to rent a house. Buying a house is in the future, obviously, but like, I think we both want like a little bit more time to like look around and like go into or whatever. But when I go in July, we are going to go look at some apartments and stuff. We kind of need like a bigger space. And I thought it would be really cool to like live in downtown Indianapolis, right? Just live in the city for a year. I've never lived in a city like that. He's never lived in the actual city. So we're like, yeah, okay, cool. No, those apartments are fucking $2,000 a month. It's insane. We found a couple that are like near our budget, and we're going to go look at those. And so I'll keep you updated on that. One of the options that we had was for me to kind of put my stuff in storage or store it somewhere, and then he would extend his lease at his apartment that he currently lives at just for a little while, since I already have a space there and whatever. And at first I was like, okay, cool, that's great. But let me tell you, speaking of drama, let me tell you about this fucking story. So his apartment complex is much like mine. It is a bunch of random buildings, and it's only 2 stories. He's on the first floor. The girl who lives above him, she's very heavy-footed. She has a lab dachshund mix named Evie, and we love her. As annoying as they can be sometimes, like, that's the first floor life, And then there's the lady who lives across the hall from him. She's got 3 kids, I believe, and they are loud as fuck. So my apartment complex, when you walk in the front door, like, you're in the building, and then you go and you enter the apartment you want to enter. Theirs is not like that. They have like a breezeway, and then you go into the apartments or whatever. It is so loud that the breezeway echoes so fucking badly, and the kids will be out there screaming and playing. She will be out there arguing on the phone, yelling at her kids, and like, I can hear her halfway across the apartment. Like, they're so fucking loud. They had a dog that well, I'll get to that in a second. Hang on. Anyway, so they're just loud, and they know they're loud, and I don't think that they fucking care. It's like, he has opened the door before and been like, kind of just looked at them. And the last time I was there, the girlfriend and the actual neighbor who lives there, they were just giddy. They were just being loud and being fucking obnoxious. And he opened the door, and I guess they just looked at him and then fucking laughed. And so I, in my ADHD moment, was just like, can you please shut the fuck up? And she had the fucking audacity to be like, well, we pay our bills. Well, that's great. You pay your bills, but you don't pay my bills. And it's not even my fucking apartment, honestly. But like, she doesn't pay his bills, and he lives in that apartment, and he has, it's a whole thing. So that actually happened the time before the last time I was there. The last time I was there, I woke up from a nap and like they were arguing hardcore, and he's like, I don't know what they're arguing about, but they are fucking screaming at each other. So of course I put my ear up to the door because you can hear everything out there. And she's like, I just, don't cuss at me, blah, blah. It really honestly sounded like a very trivial argument. And I think one of them was drinking. But the girlfriend who doesn't live there and she's not on the lease locked the leaseholder out. And she's like, let me in the fucking apartment. And I'm looking at the peephole at this point. I am watching this happen. And then here comes Bradley and he's like, move over. Let me see. Move over. So I move over and I let him see. And all of a sudden, I feel the entire door shake. And so I push him out of the way and I look through the peephole. The girlfriend has locked the leaseholder out. And the woman who actually lives there kicked her own fucking door in. She kicked her own fucking door in and then immediately was like, well, now I have to call the cops and file a police report so that I don't have to pay to get the door fixed. I was like, what the fuck? So of course, and it was nice enough that we could have the windows open and stuff at this time. So the cop shows up and Bradley and I are like watching her out of his bedroom window. And we literally listened to her tell the cop, I left at 5. I came back around 8 and my door was just kicked in and I have a camera, but it didn't catch anything. This girl literally filed a whole ass false fucking police report. I could not believe it. And I'm not on the lease, but part of me really wanted to go out there and be like, excuse me, sir, because the justice sensitivity in me just literally could fucking not. And the maintenance people were out there the next day fixing her door. And Bradley and I was there for a week after that. And he has also said like they have not used that front door since. And the mom straight up disappeared. She has like a younger son. Her and the younger son straight up disappeared for like a week. We don't know where they went. It was the fucking craziest thing, but it was so peaceful after she left. It was so fucking peaceful. And it was just the little girl and then the older like teenage girl. Now they had a dog. And the dog has lunged at Bradley quite a few times. And the dog got out and the little girl was chasing the dog, right? So she's going after this dog. I don't think he's very friendly. He clearly is not a household that breed should be trained in because he wasn't trained. He wasn't anything. So then I see the little girl again and she's got a washcloth wrapped around her finger. So I'm assuming that the dog bit her. When I tell you the next day, there was another little small fluffy dog and I have not seen that bigger dog since. And I'm like, and then I saw the little girl carrying the small fluffy dog, like by its 2 front paws on its side, upside down, basically. I'm like, you don't carry a fucking dog like that. You're going to hurt that animal. But also maybe that's why the other one bit her. Like, I don't even fucking know, but I don't care. They don't deserve to have animals, and it fucking makes me so mad to watch that shit happen because had the first dog been trained properly, it probably wouldn't have bit her and it wouldn't be aggressive towards other people if it was socialized properly. I cannot when it comes to dogs. I don't think those people should have dogs. The mom disappears for I fucking don't even know for how long. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. The whole point is I don't want to live across from those people. Not for 6 months, not for 3 months, not for a fucking year. So I'm thinking that our best bet is going to be to find another apartment. That's insane. Like that, I can't. It's insane. It's insane. Everything is just hitting me like at one time. I might cry. I didn't think I would, but I might. Okay. The eyeballs are leaking, like they're welling. My parents were like, okay, I don't even know where to start with this. I went over there for Father's Day and my dad was like, can you spend like 3 hours up there just going through the boxes that you have and decide what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of? And like, because I want to downsize a little bit. Basically what I keep in their attic is like all my holiday decor, Christmas stuff, Halloween stuff, whatever. And then all of my salon stuff is up there too. So I spent 3 hours on Father's Day going through the remnants of what used to be my salon. And of course, I have all these questions running through my head. Like, what if I never have a salon again? Like, what if I can never afford to like have a suite and like have my own space and like be that person again? Because to be honest, that is when I was the most proud of myself. And like, what if I can never do that again? And like, do I keep all of these things like just in case? Because like I have heat lamps and I have mirrors, which it was so hard to find a matching set of mirrors that I liked. Let me just tell you, all of those things have doubled in price since I bought them. So I'm like, do I keep them? Do I get rid of them and then just rebuy them? Like, I don't know what to do. And then I'm going through all of the holiday decor and I'm like, well, what if Bradley doesn't like this? A lot of my Halloween decor is pink. I have to live with a fucking boy now. Like, I don't... It's just like this whole thing. And so I sat on the floor of the attic and had like a little minty bee and I cried. And the other thing too that is like, it's such a mind fuck is there is no more like going home. Fuck it. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. There is no more going home. So when I go visit my parents, there is no sense of familiarity anymore. There's no like, let's take the back roads because there's traffic. Like I finally am in a place where I know where I'm at. I'm going to a brand new place. I have no reason to literally ever come back here. There's a few, like I said, our neighbors are like family. But I don't know. It's the craziest thing. And if this was happening in like increments I need a fucking tissue. I'm just going to use this blanket and try to like soak these little tears up. I put makeup on today, damn it. If this was happening in increments and it was like, okay, first go through your stuff and like kind of move a little bit of it at a time. Cool. And then help your parents pack, help them move. No, this is all happening in like a 2 to 3 month time span. And I'm not only are my parents moving and I'm supposed to be moving, I don't really get to enjoy my own space anymore because like I said, I'm going to Indianapolis for July. My renewal will come in August. And then basically by the time I get back home and I get readjusted to being alone back in my own space, I'm going to have to start packing up all my shit. So like, it's so crazy the moments that you think you're going to be able to have, you don't even realize that they're your last moments. So I saw something on TikTok the other day, right? And this is kind of off topic, but it relates. And it was talking about 2010s, 2015 house parties. And it's this girl, I can't remember her name, but I know you've seen her on TikTok. She's got like the crazy contour and the blonde hair. I think her name's like Isabel or something. And she does these like early 2000s, like what it was like to be a teenager and like the crazy hair extension showing and whatever. And somebody said something in the comments about like going to a house party, like a crazy house party where they're like playing 303 and like you've got the layered tank tops or whatever. And you don't even realize that's the last time you're going to be at one of those. You don't even realize that's the last time you're going to be in an environment like that. And this is very much like that. It's very much like, I don't know when the last time I was that I got to just like enjoy my space and like vibe in my space and like be a girly and like do a skincare routine and walk around the house in my underwear and make my dinner. Like just that moment is now gone. And I didn't even realize that was the last moment that I would have in a space like this. And it's not to say I don't want it to sound like I'm like, I don't want to go live with him or anything like that. I do, but I'm also a control freak and I'm ADHD and I have sensory issues, and like him, just like when I go stay with him, just him making coffee at 6:30 in the morning wakes me up. So like these are like adjustments that we will figure out. I don't want him to have to go without, like if I had to go without my coffee, there would be an issue, and I don't want that to be a thing for him. So it's just things we're gonna have to work out. But that moment of like enjoying my space and like being alone and being a single independent girly is gone. And it's crazy to think about that. And it's crazy to think about like my parents like moving out of that house. And like, that is a moment that that is coming up that I am not looking forward to, but I don't know. The whole thing is just so wild to think about. And it's a new chapter, which is fitting because I'll be 39 next month. So like, I might as well be 40 at this point because that's like a new chapter is starting. So that's what's going on with that. And so on top of all of the moving and my parents moving and me going through my things and packing stuff up and whatever, I'm also trying to build this epic color education. And I'm such a perfectionist that like it has to be fucking perfect. And I'm also I've started a wait list for clients in Indianapolis. So if you have any clients who move there that want fashion color, like fashion color, tell them to pop on over to my Instagram page. The waitlist is in my bio. I am going to start focusing a little bit more on TikTok because I already got one person on the wait list just from one video I posted. I'm also looking for a salon in Indianapolis. A couple of people have sent me random profiles. I feel weird reaching out and just being like, hey, I know that we don't know each other and this is really random, but I'm looking to day rent a chair for when I am in town, like during my transition. And then once I move there until I build up my clientele, like, would you be interested or whatever? And this is somebody that I don't follow, or, I mean, I followed them before I messaged them, but like wasn't following them before. I didn't know who they were before. So it's very weird trying to figure that out. I'm not going to be able to afford straight up booth rent, like weekly booth rent or whatever off the bat. I do hope that I get to a place where I can open my own suite, but things are just wildly so expensive. It's wild. I don't know. I kind of am very interested in like looking back at this time next year and being like, oh, there's also, this adds more to the mix. If you're asking me how I handle a lot of this stuff, I cry a lot. Just so you know, I cry a lot. So if I'm supposed to be moving, let's say, I think my lease officially ends October 2nd. So if I'm supposed to be moving in October, okay, fall is like my most favorite time of the year ever. The Rainbow Convention is in November. So instead of a 7-hour drive from Virginia, it's an 11-hour drive from Indianapolis, which means I am going to have to fly into Schenectady and figure that whole thing out as well. So that's fun. Oh, and as a judge, I think we're doing... there's some judge-like responsibilities that I have to be available for at the end of August too. So fun. I don't regret my decision for saying yes to any of that. I don't regret anything that's happening. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm bitching, but literally that's just what's going on in my life. So if I disappear again, that is why. I picked a really great time to come back to the podcast and add this to the list, right? It's a whole fucking thing. So speaking of the podcast, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the schedule a little bit. So this used to be weekly. I am going to try to ease myself back into this and do bi-weekly. So every other week there will be a podcast episode, and that will give me a little bit of time to kind of like, figure things out. I don't know if I want to continue doing YouTube. There were a lot of people that specifically asked for the YouTube video. They wanted a video version of the podcast, and I was like, all right, cool. But that honestly, it adds a lot. So if I find that the YouTube videos get to be too much, then I'm just going to do audio only. And to be quite honest, I would love to do something where I can sit with a towel on my head or my pajamas from the day before, dirty hair, no fucking makeup. I don't feel like I have to be on, and I could literally just share my thoughts, or I could literally just read what I have scripted. But the thing when you're a creator of any kind is that you want to give the audience kind of like what they want. I kind of have to film it a little bit anyways to have like trailers to put on TikTok. A lot of you have found me from TikTok from the Alfredo episode, which by the way, he sent me a cease and desist. And that the lawyer was it was so stupid because they were like, remove your video, no S. And I'm like, okay, can you tell me what information is patently false that you're claiming is patently false so I can, remove that video? I want to comply with you. Well, we don't have to fucking tell you anything. Okay, great. Well, I don't have to fucking tell you anything either. And I can't take down something if you don't tell me which one it is. So there's that. But yeah, so a lot of you have come from a lot of you have come from TikTok from those trailers. And so, hi, nice to see you again. Thanks for hanging in there if you stuck around. happy to have you here. We talk about all types of random stuff here. So this episode has been a modge podge of different things. I think there's like 2 things we talked about that were hair industry related, but it's been nice to kind of just sit here and chat with you guys. No computer in my lap. I can put my knees up. I hope this episode is easy to follow because, the ADHD moments are ADHDing. But yeah, it's been nice to just kind of like sit here and whatever. So just a reminder that the episodes will now be bi-weekly, which means every other week. So I think the next one would be July 4th. So if you're going on a road trip, good for you. And if it's not July 4th and I just fuck the math up, then I'll just see you week after next until I get a little bit more time to focus in on this. Get your Chroma Daddy color, get your Chroma Daddy X Cryistal Chaos color collab before that's gone. Sign up for the color education wait list that will be linked in the description or the show notes, whichever, platform you're listening to this on. You still can always write your stories in, any topics that you might want to discuss, anything, any TikTok that you see that like prompts a thought within you, like send it my way. I still take write-ins and all that stuff to the email, so that will also be linked for you. So stories, topics, conversations, any of that, send it my way, and I will talk to you guys week after next. Okay, bye.